Before I die, please listen. These are not the words of a madman or a fantasist. They are the alleged final plea of Ben Rich, the legendary director of Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, the most secretive and advanced aerospace division on Earth. He was the man who inherited the keys to a kingdom where science fiction was engineered into reality. The man who oversaw the creation of aircraft so advanced they were mistaken for UFOs for decades. As he neared the end of his life, Rich, an engineer known for his fierce pragmatism, supposedly hinted that humanity had already unlocked the secrets of the cosmos, that technologies capable of interstellar travel weren't a distant dream, but a present-day reality hidden deep inside the labyrinth of black-budget projects. He left the world with a single, explosive sentence that continues to ignite a firestorm of debate. We now have the technology to take E.T. home. What did he really mean? Was it a joke from a brilliant mind, a metaphor for human potential, or was it a deathbed confession from the one man who truly knew what was hidden behind the veil of national security? To find the answer, we must journey inside the myth factory itself. If there is one place on Earth where the future arrives decades early, it is Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works. Officially, it's an advanced development program. Unofficially, it's where the impossible is made routine. Founded in a circus tent during the darkest days of World War II by the visionary Clarence Kelly Johnson, Skunk Works operated on a simple, radical principle. A small team of brilliant minds, freed from bureaucracy, could achieve anything. Under the leadership of Johnson's hand-picked successor, Ben Rich, that philosophy would give birth to machines that redefined the 20th century. These weren't just planes, they were legends. The U-2 spy plane, soaring at 70,000 feet, a single eye in the sky, mapping entire nations. The SR-31 Blackbird, an aircraft forged from titanium that could outrun a missile at over 3 times the speed of sound. And the F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first stealth fighter, a Spectre so invisible to radar it could operate with impunity over the most heavily defended cities on the planet. Each time a Skunk Works project was declassified, it looked like it had been pulled from a future timeline. This is what fuels the mystery. How could a single shrouded division repeatedly shatter the known laws of engineering? Ben Rich's colleagues described him as having a mind that lived 20 years in the future. He famously said, "We didn't build fantasy, we built the future." But to understand the weight of his final words, you must understand the man. He wasn't a sensationalist, he was an engineer of the highest caliber, a man whose life was governed by physics and non-disclosure agreements. When he spoke, it was with precision. So what happens when a man like that starts talking about taking aliens home?
He said, well, let me ask you a question. How does ESP work? And it just threw me back. I'm thinking, oh my God. I wasn't expecting a question. I was expecting him to just say something. And he said, I said, I don't know, all points in space and time are connected? He said, that's how it works. Turned around and walked away.
The year is 1993. Ben Rich, now nearing retirement, is delivering a lecture at the UCLA School of Engineering. He speaks of his life's work, of pushing the boundaries of propulsion and aeronautics. The lecture is winding down. Then he projects his final slide. Witnesses recall the image vividly. A stark black disk, a classic flying saucer zipping off into the void of space. The room is quiet. Rich looks out at the audience, a mix of students, faculty, and industry peers. And then he says it. We now have the technology to take E.T. home. A wave of nervous laughter ripples through the hall. An old engineer, cracking a joke at the end of a long career. But for those who knew the history of Skunk Works, the comment hung in the air with a different gravity. Then, according to several attendees, Rich added a quiet, chilling clarification. But it would take an act of God to get it out of the black programs and into public view. That single sentence changes everything. It transforms a potential joke into a coded admission. It suggests that such technologies aren't theoretical. They exist, they are operational, and they are buried. Buried so deep within the military-industrial complex that their existence is a secret more profound than any weapon of war. Was this his way of confessing, a carefully worded truth bomb dropped just before the curtain fell on his life? Or was it simply the ultimate flex from the man who had spent a lifetime making the impossible possible? The answer may lie not in what he said, but in where he said it was hidden. Black programs. The term itself sounds like fiction. In reality, they are officially designated Special Access Programs, or SAPs. Their funding is buried so deep within the Pentagon's ledger that even most of Congress is denied oversight. They operate under a doctrine of absolute secrecy and compartmentalization, where engineers may spend their entire careers working on a single component, never knowing its ultimate purpose. This is the world Ben Rich lived in, and it is in this world that we find echoes of his claim. For decades, aerospace insiders have spoken in hushed tones of radical propulsion and material science breakthroughs, advances that seem to skip entire generations of development. Research into concepts like electrogravitic propulsion, the theoretical ability to manipulate gravity itself for thrust, was reportedly active as far back as the 1950s, before disappearing from public record. Then, in 2021, the whispers gained an astonishingly credible voice. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, one of the most powerful politicians of his generation, stated in an interview that he was told Lockheed Martin, the parent company of Skunk Works, may be in possession of retrieved fragments from unidentified aerial phenomena, materials of unknown origin. Suddenly, Ben Rich's words no longer sound so outlandish. Connect the dots. A legendary aerospace director claims we have interstellar capability. A senior senator hints at recovered non-human materials held by that very same company. And a 4-decade history of classified projects that consistently defy conventional science. A pattern begins to form, one that's hard to ignore. Skeptics argue Rich's statement was purely metaphorical, a boast about the power of human ingenuity. But even that interpretation leads to a staggering conclusion, that technology exists within these black programs, human-made or otherwise, that is light years ahead of anything in the public domain. As one anonymous Skunk Works contractor reportedly said, "We worked on things that shouldn't exist yet, and sometimes even we didn't know where the original design came from."
For years, Ben Rich's story remained a piece of niche aerospace lore. But in the age of the internet, secrets have a way of finding the light. The story found its way to the world's biggest podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan, a master at bridging the gap between mainstream skepticism and profound wonder, reacted not with mockery, but with a palpable sense of unease. If that's true, everything changes. This isn't some random guy. This is the director of Skunk Works. If a guy like that says, "We can take E.T. home," you have to at least consider what he meant, Joe Rogan said. That moment captured the public's fascination perfectly. It wasn't just a conspiracy theory anymore. It was a serious question, being seriously considered. Rogan's reaction mirrored what millions felt, a dizzying blend of disbelief and an unnerving curiosity. What if he wasn't joking? The viral clip reignited the discussion. Online forums on Reddit and TikTok dissected every word. Was Rich talking about reverse-engineered alien craft, as some believe? Or was he hinting at a secret human space program, one that has been exploring the solar system while the public was fed a narrative of stagnation since the Apollo missions? The timing of Rich's 1993 confession is also critical. it came at a time when human space exploration had publicly plateaued. For a man who had lived on the bleeding edge of innovation, that stagnation must have felt deeply strange. Perhaps he wanted to leave the world a clue, a spark of truth, before it was too late. Ben Rich passed away in 1995, taking his deepest secrets with him. His plea, "Before I die, please listen," has echoed through the decades, transforming from a whisper into a roar. In the years since, the world has slowly started to catch up. The U.S. government now openly acknowledges the existence of unidentified aerial phenomena. Top physicists are seriously studying radical propulsion theories once dismissed as fantasy. The conversation Ben Rich may have tried to start is finally happening. Whether his final words were a confession, a metaphor, or a warning, they left behind a powerful legacy. They challenge us to look beyond what we are told, to question the boundaries of what is possible, and to wonder why the future we were all promised seems perpetually just out of reach. His legacy isn't just the revolutionary aircraft that owned the skies. It's the profound, unsettling question he left behind, a question that haunts the edges of our reality. What if the future has already arrived, and we're simply not allowed to see it?